On July 22, 1991, police officers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin responded to what they thought was a routine call, a handcuffed young man running through the streets, terrified. But what they discovered inside the small apartment at 924 North 25th Street would uncover one of the most horrifying true crime stories in modern history. Inside apartment 213 was a nightmare that no one could have imagined. Human remains, photographs, preserved skulls, a refrigerator containing human organs. The home of Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, America's real-life monster. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Bath Township, Ohio. From the outside, his childhood looked ordinary, but inside, darkness was growing. At age 4, Dahmer became fascinated by the sound of animal bones. He began collecting roadkill, dissecting carcasses in the woods behind his house. His father, a chemist, believed it was scientific curiosity. But it wasn't science. It was control. A chilling fascination with death that would only evolve. By high school, Dahmer had turned to alcohol, isolating himself from classmates. Teachers described him as smart but distracted, a boy who seemed empty. In June 1978, just weeks after his high school graduation, Dahmer committed his first murder. He picked up a hitchhiker, Stephen Hicks, 18 years old, and invited him home for drinks. When Stephen tried to leave, Dahmer panicked. He struck him with a dumbbell, then strangled him. He later dismembered the body in the basement and buried the remains in the backyard. He was only 18 years old. That was the moment Dahmer crossed a line he would never return from. For almost a decade, Dahmer drifted, expelled from college, discharged from the army, arrested for indecent exposure. Each time, he seemed to slip through the cracks. In 1987, he checked into the Ambassador Hotel in Milwaukee with another young man, Stephen Twomey. The next morning, Dahmer woke up beside a lifeless body. He claimed he couldn't remember killing him. From then on, the murders came more frequently, each one darker, more depraved than the last. He targeted young men, often from marginalized communities. He lured them home with offers of money or modeling jobs. Inside his apartment, he would drug them, kill them, and mutilate their remains. But Dahmer's obsession wasn't just murder. He wanted his victims to never leave. He attempted to create living zombies, drilling holes into their skulls and injecting acid, hoping to control them completely. Everything came crashing down on July 22, 1991. When Tracy Edwards, one of Dahmer's intended victims, managed to escape, he led police back to the apartment. What they found would scar the nation. Severed heads in the freezer, photographs of dismembered bodies, a human heart wrapped in plastic. Detectives described it as a house of horrors. And Dahmer, calm, emotionless, simply said, "I tried to make them stay with me forever." Dahmer confessed to 17 murders spanning from 1978 to 1991. He detailed each one with chilling precision, showing no emotion, only regret that he couldn't stop. Psychiatrists debated whether he was insane or simply evil. Ultimately, the court found him legally sane, and he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, more than 900 years in prison. But his time behind bars was short-lived. On November 28, 1994, Jeffrey Dahmer was beaten to death by another inmate, Christopher Scarver, inside Columbia Correctional Institution. Even after his death, Dahmer's story continues to haunt America. His calm demeanor, his gruesome crimes, his apparent normality. He wasn't the monster under the bed, he was the man next door. Polite, quiet, invisible. And that's what makes his story so terrifying. Evil doesn't always come with a warning. Sometimes, it smiles at you in the hallway.